Heath, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining us. Very quick on the comments there. Hi guys, welcome to today's live stream. My name's Lewis Sellers and I'm a drummer and an educator from Hampshire in the UK. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon here and we've been royally spoiled with some really good weather lately, which is typical because obviously a lot of countries are placing people on lockdown and then all the nice weather comes in. Anyway, so my name's Lewis Sellers and what a huge honour this is to be able to live stream through SABIAN's Facebook page. So I'll actually start off by saying a huge thank you to the team at SABIAN for offering me this opportunity. Hi Rob as well. Guys, feel free to join in the chat. Absolutely, just any comments, any questions that you might have throughout this live stream, then I am well up for having a conversation with you guys. So it'd be really interesting from my point of view to see who's watching and from where in the world you are. So I know that I've got a few of my students watching who are obviously UK based, but if you're from elsewhere in the world, then please let me know. It'd be really cool to just see what the demographic is on this particular live stream. So I've got a cool little setup here. It's not my normal setup in my normal studio, but because of lockdown I can't actually access my primary studio, so I could have a bit of a hack job putting this all together. But it's actually been working really effectively. So me and my partner recently moved into a new home as well just before lockdown, so we're incredibly lucky. And here I am in one of the spare bedrooms, being able to live stream and cast stuff over the internet and also teach my students remotely as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So again, it'd be interesting to hear how you are making the best of this very strange situation. So today's topic is going to be something called linear drumming. And there is some sheet music that you can follow along to while I'm talking and going through some of the drills. So in the caption on this live stream, not only will there be a link to download the PDF, but there'll also be links to my social media accounts, things like YouTube and Instagram, as well as Facebook. So please, after this live stream, which you'll be able to rewatch if you wish, please come and say hello on my own personal social media. But yeah, huge thanks to SABIAN. This is really cool, this opportunity. I've been playing SABIAN since I picked up drumsticks and have stuck with them. They're such a fantastic brand. It's well worth celebrating that at the moment. Such a fantastic company. So yeah, literally today's topic, we're going to be talking about linear drumming. Now, it was quite hard to pitch what skill level to go for on today's particular live stream. Like, what would be the ideal skill level that sort of helps everybody? So I apologise in advance if some of this does seem too easy for you, but then again, there are plenty of ways of making this much harder. And that largely being the use of your imagination and how fast you might want to play some of these as well. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually talk about what linear drumming is. And in order to understand what linear drumming is, it's worth knowing a couple of things. So obviously any musician needs to have strong coordination, and for a drummer, in my opinion, coordination falls into two major categories. You've got something called dependence, which is where the limbs depend on one another as you're playing drum beats or fill-ins, and then you have something called independence, which is where, of course, the limbs are doing their own thing. Maybe they're playing in parallel or they're playing slightly different rhythms like polyrhythmic type stuff. But on the whole, coordination really is dependent and independence, okay? And usually that's the first thing that I get people to think about when they think of the term linear. Now, the other thing I want to share with you guys is, in order to understand what linear means, it's worth knowing what the word unison means. So, I've got my Roland V kit here. As I said, I'm not in my normal studio, but hopefully this will make do for you guys. Unison drumming is where limbs fall together, so that could be notes falling like this, or this, down the kit. And I suppose to a certain extent, flams also come under the unison family in some way or another. Okay, so unison is where limbs are dependent of one another. Whereas when we're talking about linear drumming, we're talking about independence, which is where, let's say, I don't know, you've got a combination of, say, 4 hits. None of the 4 hits overlap with one another. So I can't do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, because my snare played with my bass at the same time. I can't do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, or this, 1, 2, 3, 4, because they're falling together in unison. So linear is where it's only one voice at any one time. So my 4 notes could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they don't overlap. So that to me is the clearest way in which I can demonstrate what linear is. Now, I'm adamant that you don't actually need to be by a drum kit to get good at linear drumming or many drumming scenarios. So let's say you are in lockdown, you're isolated from your normal practice room, or you don't have access to your drum kit. Despair not, because there's still plenty that you guys can do. So I'm adamant that you can actually just sit on the sofa and be practicing the concept of linear, preparing your brain for when it comes to actually being sat behind a drum kit. You can also do linear stuff on a pad as well, so your hands get to hit the pad and your feet get to hit your carpet, for instance. So if you do find yourself without your drums and you feel gutted because everyone else is posting videos on their drum kits, fear not, because you can still get something out of this and you can still work on some incredible techniques without actually being by your drums. And of course this isn't my normal scenario. I'd normally have my kit with my nice SABIAN cymbals. So let's dive right into this then. The first exercise or exercises are really just what I consider like preliminary drills to get someone understanding maybe like the more numerical side of linear drumming. So this is perfect for beginners. If you've never seen linear drumming before, these first couple of drills are absolutely perfect. And of course, if you want to make them a lot harder, then you play them a lot quicker and life gets pretty hard pretty quickly. So the first drill, if you download that PDF, so there's a lot of things in common on this page. Obviously we're in 4/4 time for the whole page, and we're dealing with the 16th note or the semiquaver for us Brits. That's what they all have in common. So our combo is only ever going to be worth 16 hits, okay? So the first drill, very, very simple. Anyone can understand this. The idea is that you basically do a hand and then a foot, which looks crazy easy until you start speeding it up, and then it becomes a royal nightmare. So if we just look at that first drill, it's asking for 4 right hands and then 4 left hands to try and even our body. And of course this is just between the snare and bass drum. A little quicker. Even at that pace, that can be quite hard, especially if you're new to linear. That pacing can actually be very, very hard to reach if you're new. So don't worry if you have to play these a lot slower. I'd rather you guys played it accurately rather than pushing for speed. But eventually, you'll eventually find your own limits. I think the fastest guys I've seen do that is the likes of Steve Smith and your Virgil Donatis out there. Those guys are incredibly quick at that particular linear drill. Anyway, it is what it is. Really, I just think of that one as a 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Very, very easy to understand. Good, okay. Don't forget to leave any comments or any questions that you might have, because I am keeping an eye on it on my screen here for you guys. In fact, if I just open this up a little bit bigger on my laptop, I'll be able to see you guys even better. Yes, I can keep track of all your comments. So we've got someone from St. Louis, wicked. My name's Lewis, maybe it said St. Louis, not too sure on that one. Anyway, I'll keep track of the comments as well as I'm going along. So, if we look at the next drill, which is the one to the right hand side, the first on the right column, now we're dealing with what I would call linear in 2s. So this one is sort of designed to not be too biased, but most people when they see this in linear world, it's simply right, left, foot, foot. So, and that's how they would see it. Now, obviously that's great if you're right-handed. My right hand is always in charge and leading. But eventually you'll be like, okay, I need to work my left-hand side a little bit stronger. Maybe I want to throw in some different sticking patterns. So this one's kind of designed to fit all. So it's going right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot. And then I'm throwing in a sneaky double right, 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 foot, foot, and then a sneaky double left. So left, left, foot, foot. Steve says, great to see live lessons. What kit is that? I am simply on a Roland TD9, which has some cool black Evans heads, which are really nice, aesthetically pleasing. I wish I could put some Sabians up. I would if I could. So let's check out this drill. Awesome. If your foot's not fast enough to do that, then again, don't despair. Just start it slowly. There's all kinds of things that linear drumming forces you to do with your technique. This one, in this case, you've either got to have good double strokes, so, or good left double strokes, and of course good double strokes on your feet as well. David Porter says, what book are you using? I'm actually going to talk about that book in a moment. But for all of you who have just joined, the PDF is in the caption on this live stream, which you can obviously grab after the session as well, after the fact. Someone says, are these exercises found in Gary Shafi's linear book? So I'm actually going to come to that in a moment, but it's heavily inspired by this very cool, very 80s looking yellow book in front of me. So we're going to move on to that shortly. So, next steps then. Let's move on to exercise 3, and this is linear in threes. And there's tons of ways that you can do linear in threes, but I chose this specific example, which is right, left foot, okay? Now here's the thing with linear, and music in general. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you see music, it is rather dependent on maths, especially if you want it to be, you know, it can become incredibly mathematical. And in this case, you need to watch out for a couple of things. First of all, our linear phrase, or our linear lick, is in threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you may realise that the number 3 doesn't divide into 16th notes, or at least a bar of 16th notes. You're always going to have one remaining, so you're going to be able to get up to 15, and then you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, I need that 16th note, what should it be? In this case, the last note, the last 16th note happens to be another foot, so you end up with a pattern like this. Which is super musical. Let's do that a little quicker, it's really good fun. So you must have heard that rhythm at least once in your life, this kind of 3/4 feeling. And there are tons of ways in which you can resolve that ending. But for right now, especially if you're new to this, just accept the fact that it's a double bass drum at the end, and that's absolutely fine. But of course you can turn that last note into anything you like. So we'll do a little quicker and then move on. Awesome. Okay, just remind you guys that this is just between the snare drum and the bass drum at the moment. Of course, we could have all kinds of fun moving it around the kit, which I'll talk about towards the end. Right, let's keep pushing forward. So, the next preliminary drill is linear in fours. And again, just because that number is increasing, you're going to end up with lots and lots of options of what you could do with just 4 notes. In this case, we're using right, left, right foot. So. Wonderful, so very easy to hear that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, need I explain that one further? It's the perfect division for 16th notes. 4 lots of 4s. Really nice to pull off. Keeps the right hand in charge, particularly with this drill. The right hand is very much the leader. Quicker. So if you are keeping an eye on my right hand, it's just there going. let's move on to the 5th preliminary drill. There are 6 preliminary drills on this one, and then we become a little bit more creative with our linear. So, okay, this is a fun one. So the number 5, a lot of people tend to shy away from the number 5 when they're new to drums. I guess the divisions are usually 2, 4, sometimes 6, then 8 and 16. They're sort of like the normal divisions that people go for, but I love a 5. It's really, really odd. I know that 5 is an odd number, but 5 within 16th notes really throws the feel of it, especially if you're to put something like a metronome on to keep time with this one. So, you may realise again from a mathematical point of view, 5 doesn't evenly divide into the number 16. You're always going to have 1 remaining. So you can get up to 15, which is 3 times 5, and then you are left with a choice of what to do at the end. And in this case, it's another bass drum, like example 3 was. But of course, that choice could either be another left hand, another right hand, or you could decide to pause, so you could actually decide not to do anything, okay? Don't forget to leave any comments, by the way. It'd be really cool to know where you guys are from, and even how this pandemic is affecting you and whether you are getting to play your drums a lot at the moment or not. But I'm definitely interested to see where you guys are from. As I said, I'm right here in the UK. So, this 5, so we're going right, left foot. Okay, and you can even see that in the exercise. It's basically anchored by this extra line, which looks like a little hook that's keeping some notes together. Those are called groupings, which make it a lot easier to see. So we're going right, left foot, right, left foot, right, left foot, foot, which brings us up to 16. Let's keep this rolling round. Awesome, okay, so you can hear that one has a strange feel to it, but very, very addictive. The number 5 is cool. Alright. David from Dallas. Hi David, hope all is well in Dallas. Awesome, okay, so I'm going to play this one a little bit quicker for you guys. Antonio says, reading the PDF as you play. Cool, that's perfect, because of course you can always rewatch this. If any of this is too quick for you guys, just rewatch it and relearn it. But I love linear though, linear is so addictive. Let's keep going. The faster you go, the weirder that 5 feels. So really strange. So we've got from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Excellent. Visited Canada for my 30th. What a wonderful place that is. And yes, I did sneak in a trip to the SABIAN factory or the SABIAN vault. What an incredible place that is to visit. So yeah, welcome to Canadian friends watching this. Excellent. We're going to move on to our 6th and final preliminary drill, and then we're going to talk about the book that's in front of me here, which is hard to miss, before we then continue this topic. So, the number 6 is our number for this particular drill, so drill 6, 6 is the magic number here. So, like I said, the longer the number, the more linear options you have, but in this case I've gone for 5 hands, right, right, and then a foot to bring it up to 6. So here's just a normal 6. Okay, so you can fit 2 of them in the bar to equal 12, and then I've just put 4 remaining, which brings us up to 16, okay? And then your bar is done. We'll start a bit slower. There you go, and that can be quite a nice feel. 6s are quite friendly in the long run. Great. Okay, so I'm hoping guys at this point that you're beginning to understand what linear is about. So no limbs are crossing over. They're certainly working together in the sense of like, not one hand I guess is the dominant leader. That it's basically the sum of its parts is what makes linear very nice to listen to, incredibly addictive as well. Certainly works well for me because I have a very almost OCD-like attitude with drumming, and linear is fantastic to satisfy that side of me. Because it's all very organised, where every note counts. So at this stage then, you've got a wonderful amount of ingredients that you can use to create some linear patterns. Ollie says, so sorry I'm late man, completely lost track of time. Guys, the nice thing is you can rewatch this afterwards as well. So, as I was saying, one of the nice things here is that you have a short amount of linear drills that can actually be upcycled to create some incredible patterns. So at the moment our alphabet, say, is worth 6 notes long, or 6 drills worth of content that we could join together. And the thing is with linear is once you understand that you have, say, these ingredients, you can actually you can sort of like bring them together a little bit like Lego bricks. You can put them together in a modular way and create some really, really fantastic stuff, and that's where the creative side comes in. So let me quickly reference you to a book that someone's already said, which is Linear Time Playing by Gary Shafi. I'll hold it a little closer to the camera. And this is an incredible book. I remember buying this in my late teens and it was an absolute light bulb moment. So Gary Shafi has written this book that's based around this course concept that we've been looking at so far, linear drumming, where only one note is happening at any one time. And this is heavily inspired by Gary Shafi's book, this particular live stream. And I'd encourage anyone to pick that up off of Amazon or whenever you're next in a drum store. So let's keep moving forward then. So in this sort of like second half of the page, this is where we're being a little bit more creative and almost going off on a little bit of a tangent here. So if you look at example 7, there's 16 notes still, so we've not changed that. But there's not really a set formula to it now. It almost looks a little bit random with how it's all put together, which is fine. That's actually one of the cool challenges with linear drumming. It's going to force you to become a little bit more reactive as a player. But with enough practice of this, with enough muscle memory, then you're going to be absolutely fine pulling this together. So, example 7, it's right, left, foot, left, right, foot, the first half, and then foot, left, right, right foot. You know what, it's a real mouthful saying that and playing it at the same time, so I'm just going to start it slow for you guys. So I still believe that anybody can tackle that, whether you're a beginner or advanced player. That's just a line of notes that you have to obey, a bit like a rudiment, and you just play the correct pattern, and then hopefully in time your muscle memory will kick in and you'll get a little faster. So what I'm going to start doing at this point is I'm going to introduce a little bit of a beat. So we're going to get some context going where, because we're in 4/4 time, I'm either going to do like a bar up front or maybe 3 bars, and then throw this in as a fill-in just to give you guys a very quick idea of what it's capable of, okay? So 1 bar up front. And I suppose the faster I go, I'm going to lengthen my groove. So cool. Doesn't it sound great fast as well? Doesn't everything on drums sound great fast? But there you go. So a really nice, more creative linear pattern, less predictable. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing with these last 6 grooves here, okay? So let's try and find the 8th bar. So the 4th one down on the right hand column. It's asking for, let's go through this slowly as I verbally say it as well. Right, left, foot, foot, right foot. It's the first half. And then right, left, right foot, right, left. Which if you're really attentive there, you'll see that it's moving in 3s at the end. Okay, let's put this one together. I'm going to loop it a few times. And now a little quicker. Quite a lot of effort, that one. So let's groove with it, nice and slow. just that medium tempo that I was playing there. But let's try a little quicker, let's get up to those faster, punkier feels. So. Great, there we go. Let's keep moving forward, guys. There's 4 drills left, and then what we're going to do is we're going to open the floor and talk about how you be even more creative with this, because really this was just kind of like a basic intro to what linear drumming is all about, at least in this particular context as well. Don't forget to leave your questions and comments in the live chat. At the moment I am keeping an eye on it, so I'm seeing everything that you guys write, and if this is valuable to you, please let me know, and also let me know where you're watching from. So let's check out example 9 then, okay. Now there's a nice construction to this one, but I'll explain it as it is first. So we're going right, left, right foot, a block of 6. Here's the next 6, right foot. And at that point I'm hoping that you realise that the first 6 notes are the same as the second 6 notes. So that just sort of unfolds in a grouping of 6. And then to end it, we're just going right foot, left. Okay, so that's pattern 9, everybody. Let's just loop it a few times. See what I mean? Why you don't actually need to be by a drum kit to be able to do that kind of thing. Let's just try something quick. So let's say you don't have your drum kit. You're not able to practice at the moment because of lockdowns. So trusty legs and trusty feet, here we go. That still does some incredible stuff for your brain before you even sit down at a drum kit, okay? So you can do this wherever you like. Let's go for a nice slow tempo with this one. Awesome, still lots of energy. Awesome, Daz says, hello from Wales, great stuff Lewis. I'm just about to start teaching today's Skype lessons, Gary Shafi. It is, wonderful. Thanks Daz, hope everything's good in Wales and enjoy your Skype lessons. Okay, so let's hear this one a little bit quicker now. This has a lovely voicing to it, or overall structure. So. Awesome, I'll try a bit quicker. Wow, so yeah, it's just constantly pushing my reaction speed. There's very little time to think about that. That's pure muscle memory, really. You just have to loop it lots and lots to be able to get it that fast. I'm glamorizing speed here without really meaning to, but they do sound lovely at a faster pace. But do start slow, you know, be realistic with yourselves, especially if you're new to the concept of linear, and don't just go crazy and play it fast, because it might come across as sounding a bit scrappy. Timothy says, linear is something I've always wanted to learn. We'll be checking back on this after work, checking in from New York. Awesome, I assume that's New York, excellent. Yes, Timothy, rewatch this later on, absolutely, because I believe it will stay on the SABIAN page, and I'll try and upload it to my YouTube as well, which there are links in the caption. Ed says, gonna have to dig out the Gary Shafi book again, awesome stuff mate. Yeah, like this, literally, this is like my #1 favourite book, it's so cool. It's like every time I get this out every couple of years, it's like hanging out with an old friend where nothing's changed, you're just that little bit wiser, and you just look at it a slightly different way, hopefully with new skills that you've developed on the drums. Awesome, okay, last 3 drills people, and then we're going to open the floor and be a little bit creative with it as well, maybe tease you guys with what you could do with this in the future, or I guess if SABIAN would have me back if you guys enjoyed this, then I'm happy to follow it up with a part 2 for all things linear, taking it that step further. So this is number 10, so the 5th one down on the right hand side. I'll say it as I'm drumming it. Foot left, right, foot, does sound a little bit ridiculous when you're just saying it like that. Foot, left, right, foot, right, left, foot, right, left, foot, left. But of course that's useful if you are new to this concept. You don't necessarily have to count any of these as well, you can just sort of follow with your eyes, work on your sight reading. Even if you're not that strong at sight reading, I still think it's easy enough to understand what's happening. Obviously F means foot for bass drum. Oliver Armour says, what's the book called and how much is it? It's called Linear Time Playing by Gary Shafi. The front cover is undeniably old school, very easy to find. And I think you can get it on Amazon, or if you contact your local drum shop, they might be able to order it in for you guys. But you can ask me later, Oliver. Thank you for saying that. So let's try this one a bit quicker then. This is number 10. Awesome, very angular feel to that one. Doesn't really fit terribly well to a click in its natural form. So okay, let's groove with it for a bit. Remember, always put these in context with the beat, otherwise they do become a little bit useless, you know, it's like you've not quite paired it with anything. And a little quicker. Cool, love that one, that's actually quite nice. I think we'll come back to that one at some point to talk creatively about it. Fine, let's just grab a sip of water, do excuse me. Welcome anyone who's just tuned into this live stream. I believe SABIAN are going to be doing more of this kind of thing as well, especially in the current climate that we find ourselves in. What a great way to learn drums without having to step out of your front door. So this is a free lesson. I'm hoping that SABIAN do a lot more of this, and I'd love to take part in it again, of course. So, final two then. So we're looking at number 11 now. Let's just go straight in at it. Hopefully by now you guys understand what is happening. Scott says, punk it up. Absolutely, Scott. In the comments, please let me know what you mean by that. I think I have an idea, but of course at the moment we're dealing with it just between the snare and the bass drum. But yeah, these are fantastic punk fill-ins without a doubt. So yeah, Scott, definitely leave a further comment of what you mean by that. So number 11, so we've got right, left, right foot, right, left, right foot, left, right, left. So again, it's kind of in sixes, and then you get to the end, you're left with just 4 notes to deal with. So. Awesome, okay, beat. Awesome. So Chris says, do you use both bass pedals doing linear? Fantastic question. You can do, absolutely. So that furthers the topic. You could, you know, travel further down the rabbit hole and explore doing double pedal stuff. Everything I'm doing today and everything that the PDF is asking for is just single pedal, which is a challenge within itself, especially if you do want to go much faster. Those double strokes become, you know, quite tense, quite condensed. But yes, linear can basically involve all styles and all techniques, so you could do some double pedal stuff, and there's plenty of guys out there, especially in the more progressive or extreme styles of music, there's lots and lots of double pedal linear. So my answer is yes, of course you can. which we'll talk about at the end when we talk about just general creativity. Okay, I'll go a little faster with number 11. Awesome, there you go, quite a nice blast to that one. Okay, we're on to the 12th and final drill on this particular PDF. So like I said guys, please download this and have a go at practicing it yourself. If it is too easy for you guys, and I've already said it time and time again today that you can just really push this and it becomes much more of an extreme workout rather than taking it slowly, which is what I'd recommend to beginners for this particular topic. So the final one then, let's verbally say it again. Right, left, foot, right, left, foot, foot, left, foot, left, foot. So this one in particular, I can already tell this is going to be quite hard to play fast because there's so many doubles happening. So Scott says, this has been really helpful, thank you. Scott, bless you, you're more than welcome, thank you very much for that, and do please support the channel further, like obviously support SABIAN, and I'm hoping that we can do more of this kind of stuff, because it is good fun. Especially when a lot of people around the world are in lockdown. Again, don't forget to leave comments. Just tell me where you guys are from. It's just really interesting and fascinating to see, who's tuning in. So number 12 then. It's going to be hard because there's so many double bass drums in it at a very close proximity. Even harder to get that crash in at the end as well. And once slow. Sorry. Awesome, let's take that tempo. And we'll try and punk it up, especially as Scott has mentioned, trying to make this feel punky. Woo! There you go. So, wonderful guys. So that's actually all of the drills on the PDF that I've supplied you guys with. Michael says, giving me something to do for the rest of the day. Excellent, and hopefully for years to come as well, because linear is something that you can keep checking back with, and it's incredible just how much you can do with linear. So now is a great time to start leaving any comments that you might have, and of course welcome if you just joined this live stream. You can absolutely re-watch this and keep getting the information replayed back to you, especially if you're a beginner to this topic, because I imagine it's quite intimidating to see it really quick and try and dissect what's happening. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, nicely done. Thank you very much. This stuff takes time, so be very, very patient with it. But this is really what I wanted to talk about, because this preliminary stuff, I've lived with this sort of thing for a long time. I'm constantly finding ways of trying to make it more creative or more satisfying to do. And yes, playing it faster is one of those. Who doesn't want to become a faster, more efficient drummer? But really, I prefer the drummers who are incredibly creative with this kind of thing. Now, this sort of creativity isn't going to make your... what am I trying to say? These are basic concepts of creativity, which I'm just going to quickly go over with you before our time is up. And because trust me, I could go on and on with this topic. But let's talk about a few things that you can do with these 12 drills. So the obvious one is start pairing them with a drum beat, making sure that you can play them effortlessly, going to and fro a drum beat so they become musical. Scott says it is intimidating, but I'm going to give it a go. Excellent, Scott. Like I said, start slow, fella. So yes, always try and pair these with a drum beat so that you're playing something that's compatible rather than just an idea that you can never use at a gig or a studio or whatnot. Here's some other things that you could do with it then. You could make up some really fun orchestration rules, so you can put it around the kit in certain ways. So if I just show you a cool example of this, exercise 2, which was right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot, that drill. I just made up something like this. Just this nice cool little triangle scenario. So one in a bazillion different orchestrations that you could make up with that particular drill. So you can do that with all of them. Let's try another while we're here. So number 9, we're going to go for something like this. This is going to sound a little bit like your Blink-182 type fill-in. So let's take it further. Slower. Sorry. So fine, lots and lots of ways that you can play it around the kit. Absolutely hundreds of thousands to find, which is, you know, your own creativity shining through, hopefully. So orchestration's a big one. Here's one I really enjoyed doing just before I went onto the live stream for you guys. I chose number 10, and I decided to put accents in certain places. So that's another fantastic way of just shifting the feel of these, you know, 12 drills that I've offered you guys today. So this is number 10, which was foot, left, right, foot, foot. Which you can see there on the page, the 5th one down on the right hand side. So I decided to do accents on particularly the bit where it's in 5s, right, left foot, right, left foot. With that particular lick on the hands, I wanted to go loud, soft, soft, loud. So you'd end up with this. Just for that short moment of time, and you end up with something like this. Which again changes the feel, so it's not just all flat with its dynamics. You've got this up and down nature to it. So Andy says, this is fantastic, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Thanks Andy, and also give it to your students as well, because you know this stuff is really, really awesome to get into, especially in this current climate that we're in right now. So okay, you can obviously do combinations of those kinds of things. So let's say I'm sticking with number 10 and I wanted to do an orchestration as well as dynamics. So I think I came up with something like this. It was like, which is really far out there. It's really all in the conviction at this stage, I suppose. So I'm mainly just flirting between the hi-hat and the tom 3, and then using the ghost notes in this now to become snare drums. So let's see if I can pull this one off. Down the rabbit hole we go, everybody. So lots and lots of things you can do with it. If you guys have any other suggestions of what you might want to do with these, then I'm all ears or all eyes, because I'm watching you guys with your comments. But of course, there are further things you can do with it. You can start to think about new subdivisions. So in this initial page, we just dealt with the semi-quaver or 16th notes, and we just put it in 4/4 time. But of course, you can explore odd times, which has an implication on how many notes you can play within the bar, and you can start to introduce new subdivisions as well, which I won't go into huge detail at the moment, but a really, really cool thing is being able to put one of these licks in as a 30-second note. So 16 30-second notes, you're going to be at half a bar. David Porter says a 6/8 version. Yes, we can talk about 6/8 in a moment. But yes, with our fast 30-second notes, if you're looking for a really cool challenge, then you can get yourself quite quickly into gospel chops territory, just by, playing some kind of hip-hoppy type groove. So that was 1.5 bars there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And then you've got half a bar, which is 16 30-second notes to be able to pull it off. I went for cheeky and tried to do 2 there. So that is actually a really, really cool way of upgrading these, is doubling their speed so they become half a bar of 30-second notes. And of course you can do many other things. You can look in triplets, sextuplets, quintuplets, there we go there. Lots and lots of stuff you can do with linear. So a 6/8 version, oh man, let's have a think about it. So anything comes to mind. I cheated there because I went up to some sextuplets, but yes, this all can be reworked into whatever time signature you like, which maybe we could cover in a future video if Sabian will let me. Just depends if you guys have enjoyed this or not. So, okay, I better leave it there. I'm going to absolutely get carried away with myself, and I can see that we've already reached 45 minutes. So yeah, I'm now opening it up to any questions that you guys might have. Now is the time, while you've got my undivided attention. But of course, thank you so much for tuning in. I can see there's been a decent amount of you, somewhere between 1 and 200 people watching this live. And of course, it will stay on the Facebook page and also stay on YouTube as well. So I'll upload that later. If you've enjoyed this kind of content, then we can encourage Sabian to do more, because it is very cool, especially if we get, some of Sabian's more famed drummers on to teach us some of their pearls of wisdom. Don't forget to follow my social media stuff as well, which is all in the caption in this particular live stream, so you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook as well. So please come and say hi if you're enjoying this kind of thing. So I'm just going to look through some of the past stuff that you guys have said, but hopefully it's been of value to you and you've just basically reacquainted yourself with the love of linear, or if it's brand new to linear, then there you go, you've got something really, really cool and interesting to dive into. So Ed says, can you play these using doubles rudiments as well, not just single strokes? Yes, and actually that was one of my creative options that I forgot to say, so thank you Ed, thank you for reminding me to mention this. So all of them, you don't have to do alternating hands, which is what Ed was referring to, so going right, left or left, right. You could start to introduce some rudiments as well, so we just picked the perfect one for that. So example 4, which is just this at the moment. Obviously, the easiest thing you could do with that is just add a double stroke in there. So right, left foot. So yeah, rudiments do work as well, and again we could go on and on with what rudiments will work and how you can rework them into linear. So Michael says this is great, hopefully we'll get a part 2, and Ash says I definitely watch a part 2. Well, thank you very much guys. I think I'll leave it there because I've gone beyond my 45-minute slot. But again, just want to massively thank Sabian for giving me the opportunity to do this. It's a lot of fun, it's tough for a musician at the moment with what's happening with COVID-19. So this is a wonderful way of taking my mind off of current affairs and just getting in and doing something that we all love, which is drumming. So I'll keep an eye on the comments after the video as well, so if you weren't brave enough to ask me anything, then I'll check it out over the next 24 hours or so. And with that, enjoy your day everyone, whether you've got the rest of the day free or it's now in the evening, depending on where you're watching from. And I hope to see you very soon, alright? So take care everybody. Ta.